Hello, Facebook. This is Rob Vollmar. I'm the book review editor for World Literature Today. I'm here with my friend Yahia Lababidi, who is our guest editor for the November issue. And so this is our editor's review of the issue, if you will, where we kind of go through the November issue and talk about what we did with it. We're broadcasting to you live from the Texas Book Festival in Austin. So this is going to be a bit more casual than our standard editors look at the issue, and I hope that you'll forgive us for being a bit more casual and sitting on the grass as we talk to you about the issue. So the special section for the November issue, which I'm holding here, is Belief in an Age of Intolerance. And it was guest edited, as I said, by Yahia, and so we thought we might talk with him a little bit about the section. Yahia, thank you so much for being with us here today. Are you enjoying the festival so far?
I'm very grateful for the casual setting, frankly, and unapologetic. It's good to be here. It's especially good to be here and get to talk about the issue, because this is it's one thing assembling and it's another unpacking.
I'd like to start off maybe by talking about the special section. You opened the section with an essay called "Seeking the Light Through Literature." Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was thinking if we can do a broad discussion of belief as it pertains to literature, what is it that literary people believe in? And I think, irrespective of their particular tradition or faith system or whatever it is that sections people off from one another, people can agree that literature that is uplifting, not in a facile way, but genuinely, and that takes you on an experience and sheds light and possibly transforms and heals, that's always a good thing. So in this age of intolerance, I thought, who's around now? You know, there's the great dead, but we couldn't access them. Although having said that, there is a Rumi translation by Brad Gooch, so the great dead are represented, and I just thought, who's around that can offer some sort of peace and light in these troubled times.
So let's just take them on a short tour of the section. I'm going to actually pass this over to you so you can take a look at it. Would you like to tell us about some of the pieces in here?
Stephen Mitchell was the first name that came to mind, and he had marked me as a young man as a translator of the Tao. He also did terrific Rilke translations, and I wanted to see if I could have him here, and luckily he agreed. He contributed a piece called "The Binding of Isaac," and it's a great piece for an issue like that, because it's taking this parable, this story, and telling it from several different perspectives. So there's already tolerance in perspectives, knowing that it's not one way or another. You'd have to read it to see exactly what I meant.
It's a really amazing piece. I love how it through having the multiple frames of looking at that story, there's no, for example, with scripture, scripture has a way of being authoritative. Mm-hmm. This is what happened. This is how you're supposed to feel about what happened. And because they're with the multiple perspectives in that story, uncertainty is allowed into a place where typically we're not invited to be uncertain about how people felt or what they thought about the circumstances. Gus, I believe his name is pronounced Gus Queeger, had a book that was called The Bible for Unbelievers that was translated last year, and he does a very similar take on that story, where we have to deal with what that event of taking Isaac into the mountain to potentially sacrifice him, how that affected the relationship between Abram and Sarah.
Tremendous.
Moving forward, as they had sacrificed so much for Isaac to even be born. And what it said about Abram's faith in God. So I really loved how that piece echoed that book that I had read last year as well.
Yeah, that's really good. Even the ram is represented. Even the perspective, the little herd perspective of the ram, who at the end sort of is very noble and goes to be sacrificed, graceful as a dancer, is there. You mentioned uncertainty. Uncertainty is huge and also closely related somehow to ambiguity. And that's another piece that I was fortunate to lure contributor Hamza Yusuf. Hamza Yusuf is a Muslim scholar. He is one of the leading Muslim scholars. He is a convert. He was born into a Christian family, became Muslim at some point. And he contributes a piece, not in the issue, but online, for you virtual people who go online, who live online, worldlittoday.org, about language and the importance of allowing for ambiguity. And these are not things to be feared. And there's also dancing in ambiguity, graceful, noble dancing. So that's the virtual issue. Also, I mentioned the Rumi. Robert Bly was another sort of hero that I was able to bring on board. I didn't get to talk while I was communicating with him, his assistant, who's also a poet, and he says, "Oh, I think we have one poem that may not be published," and we ended up using it, and it's about death, really. And there's a second poem in here about death by Kevin Hart, who's a great Australian poet. And death is one of these privileged moments, in the sense of it doesn't matter your particular belief system, but you recognize it as awesome and tremendous. And I think literature can somehow do that also. It can approach these great moments and do them honor. So poetry in an age of intolerance. Can poetry maybe be, in my piece I say, can poetry be how we pray now? If we don't have a formal language, can poetry be our language? The poems are really the thing that I'm most drawn to. So there's an Adniel whose poem was translated from Hebrew, and it's sort of a mystical moment where he's playing he's playing his piano, and it's on the water, and butterflies are making their way through barbed wire, and you can only imagine what that must be like given his background. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. You'd have to pick a piece, and I'll tell you what I think of it.
We have our editor-in-chief Daniel Simon also did an interview with Ted Kooser.
Yes, that's
former poet laureate. It was an amazing interview, and we have a large section of it in the issue, and then there's an even longer version of the interview, which frankly even adds more context to it. That's available in the online edition. I also wanted to draw attention to, I believe this is the piece that closes this section and also shares a name with this section, which is Belief in an Age of Intolerance by H.L. Hicks. Can you tell us a little bit about H.L. Hicks?
Well, I wanted him on board because I thought he was someone, I think he comes from a traditionally religious background, if I'm not mistaken, and he seems to me like one of these almost saints who subscribes to a nameless God at this point, as an artist, as a writer. He's also very cerebral, and I think this is a mental piece where we just clarify the terms here: belief, capital B; belief, lowercase b; believer, how you believe, and I, in relation to this, I think of this line. I believe it's Shakespeare. How the fault is not in the stars, but in ourselves. And so belief in and of itself is not a bad thing. You know, a particular religion, whichever one is sort of problematic nowadays, is not necessarily a religion of violence or a bad thing. It's the interpretation, it's the application, and people throughout the ages have shown you that the very same thing can be elevated and regarded as a source of sustenance and inspiration, or it can be used to justify the most atrocious things. I was just walking through I'm pointing over there where you can't see, where there are tents, and I stopped in one of the tents, and there was Nietzsche's will to power, and Nietzsche was a great influence, another godless prophet who has been used and abused in all sorts of manners, and others will claim him as no, this is a mystic of an unfounded religion that is yet to be named. So I think Hicks sort of lays it down in a very clear, neat way. What are we talking about here when we talk about belief, and what's the blame? Is it the thing itself, or how we approach it?
Just to touch on some of the other high points of the issue. In addition to the interview with Ted, I believe there's 2 poems by him as well, which were both fantastic. Our Peterbot essay for this issue is by Aminatta Forna, Selective Empathy, Stories and the Power of Narrative, and talks about how fiction reconnects us to our empathy and allows us to envision ourselves inside of other people's headspace. It's a really important issue, or a really important essay. I also, as the book review editor, want to take the time to let you know that we have more than 30 reviews, as always, in the issue, including pieces by Elisa Ganieva, her second novel coming out from Deep Vellum. That's our featured review for the issue by Dr. Emily Johnson from the University of Oklahoma. Also got reviews from Carmen Maria Machado, who's gotten a lot of attention this year with her book, Her Body and Other Parties. Alain Mabanku, our Peterbot Fellow from 2016, I believe. Arjundati Roy. This is really just kind of a parade of some of the biggest names in world literature right now. So there's a lot both in the physical issue and of course in its digital counterpart that's available on our website. Yahia, let me thank you so much for your time and coming out to the festival and talking with us today. And Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are in Austin, Yahia and I will be in conversation with the poet and essayist Kenny Freeze tomorrow, 2:45 here at the Capitol, talking about the intersection of art and spirituality. We're also at booth 212 here on the concourse in front of the Capitol, so come by.
It's a concourse, is that what it is?
I just made that word up, I don't know. It's a row of tents.
Yes, concourse is far finer.
Yeah, so come by and visit with us. Thank you so much for visiting with us today, and we'll be back in January with our editor's conversation about that issue. So thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed the issue.